All of us understand the death of Christ. We all understand that Christ died for our sins. Every true Christian knows that and believes that. But we tend to look at the cross of Christ either in the physical aspects of it, which, as I reminded you a few weeks ago, were the same for the thieves as they were for Jesus. And we get caught up in the physical suffering. Or we tend to view it as this great loving sacrifice on the part of Christ, which it was. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. He said that. And while it is true that there were physical tortures that need to be understood, and there is love that needs to be understood and needs to be emphasized, there is an element at Calvary that is major in the revelation of the New Testament that often gets overlooked. And that is the presence of God. Calvary is more about the wrath of God than it is about anything else. Yes, it is human cruelty and injustice at its worst. Yes, it is an expression of sacrificial love at its best. But most importantly, what goes on at Calvary has meaning for you and meaning for me because of what God does there. It is when God shows up at Calvary that it becomes the saving event that it is. Jesus is a victim of human injustice. Jesus did suffer horrendous, agonizing pain. Jesus did willingly, lovingly sacrifice his life. Those things are true. But we need to think more deeply. We need to get out of the shallow end, if you will, of the pool and into the depths. And you do that when you begin to see God at Calvary. But at noon, it says this: darkness fell over the whole land until the 9th hour, the sun being obscured. Without warning, their world goes pitch black. And the darkness lasted for 3 solid hours. They couldn't move. They couldn't walk down the hill. They couldn't go anywhere. There was no light anyplace. God brought hell to Jerusalem that day. Matthew 8, verse 12, Matthew 22, verse 13, Matthew 25, verse 30. Jesus calls hell outer darkness. The ultimate black hole, where there's weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth in the eternal unrelieved blackness. It is the darkness of God's judgment presence. So from noon to 3, hell came to Jerusalem and Judea. God showed up in wrath. And the interesting thing is, it wasn't wrath on the Romans. And it wasn't wrath on the Jewish leaders. And it wasn't wrath on the people. It was wrath on the Son. God unleashed the full extent of his fury on Jesus Christ. As Isaiah put it in Isaiah 13:9, wrath with fierce anger. Hell came there. What is hell? Hell is where God punishes people forever. Hell is where God pours out his fury on people forever. God is the power behind the punishment in hell. When you say that hell is being separated from God, only in the sense of his comforting presence, not in the sense of his punishing presence. He is the one who destroys both soul and body in hell. He is the king of hell. Satan is not. And God, who is the punisher of all the souls in eternal hell, shows up in the darkness of Calvary to punish his Son. And he gives his Son eternal hell on behalf of all who would ever believe.